They don't want fiction about white American men and their dull accoutrements, gasoline, cigarettes, whiskey, fighting, sitting around, dogs, or the military. If you include those topics in your story, quote, "For the love of God, make it satire." Both histrionics and misogyny invite rejection. They also don't take sci-fi, fantasy, or horror. They want pieces up to 4,000 words long. The deadline is March 3rd, and that's for minor literatures. The final thing is the final submitted piece for submitting. This is one that Celia wanted us to mention. It's from Gigantic Sequins, which is a great name for a journal. They're just an independent journal. They are taking, it's another contest. This is a flash nonfiction or poetry comic journal. I don't know what a poetry comic is.
I have no idea.
But they'll be judged by Paul Lisicki in The Flash or Gabrielle Bates in poetry. It's $5 to enter. You can have 3 pieces per entry and 1,000 words, up to 1,000 words per entry. The winner gets $100 and an original Matthew Mahaney cross-stitch inspired by your work.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun prize. So if you're interested in a chance at, again, it's a contest, so, don't stretch never ever go outside of your means to submit to a contest. But if you can do it and you're interested, these sound like things you're willing to either try or already do. You'd like to maybe try to get a cool cross stitch, then submit to Gigantic Sequins by March 10th. Now, back home again in Indiana and Bloomington, the IU's got a few fingers in the writing pies around Bloomington. I know, Bridget, you have something happening in Bloomington this month.
Yeah, so my place where I used to intern, Indiana Review, fantastic journal. Every year they put on a reading and workshop series. It's called the Blue Light series. So that's coming up just next month in March. Friday, March 23rd, we're going to have the Blue Light workshops, and following that on the 24th, that's a Saturday, we'll have the reading series, and they've got 3 authors who come in and they teach some workshops, talk about craft, writing exercises, awesome stuff like that. And then the following evening, they have a reading at the Bishop, which is a bar downtown, and so that's 18 plus, unfortunately, but otherwise it's all free, open to anybody. And so the authors featured this year, we've got who have we got? We have Jennifer Givhan, Givhan. Sorry, Jennifer, for mangling your name. So she's a Mexican-American poet, and editor-in-chief at Tinderbox Poetry Journal. So she's going to be giving a workshop, the title of which is Perpetual Metamorphosis. So that should be fun. We've got Dr. Eve L. Ewing, who's a writer from Chicago, and a sociologist. She's giving her, she's going to be talking about love poems in her workshop. And finally, we have novelist Brando Skyhorse, which is the best name I've ever heard in my life. Author of, does he have any books listed here? He does not have any books listed here, but anyway, yeah, Brando Skyhorse doing a workshop on what to do after you've finished your novel. So I might go to that, although I'll never finish my novel, so what the hell. But yeah, anyway, so workshops on Friday, readings on Saturday. It's a whole lot of fun. I'll probably be there. Maybe Dan will be there if we're lucky. So like come say hi or something, maybe. Free admission and all of that.
Yeah, and tying into that, the one of my very first episodes, and the one Celia featured on, I did a recap of the IU Writers Conference, which happens every year in summer, and hopefully we'll be attending in some form, either lurking around like I did last year, or attending.
We'll probably just try and sneak in on day 3 when everyone's exhausted and not paying attention.
Yeah, we know a guy. But they have opened their registration, which runs until, oh golly, I don't know how long it runs to, but
the registration?
Yeah.
Let's find out.
If you'd like a scholarship, because it's $645 for workshops or $385 for classes, the deadline for scholarship application is March 30th. So get on it. Yeah.
It makes it's so worth it. I was able to attend with a scholarship last year. It was very fun. Wasn't able to do the workshops, unfortunately, last year, but I would have loved to. But yeah, jump on that.
The $30 registration fee.
Yes.
But the Writers' Conference has as always, fantastic lineup of writers. Their poet who is running the poetry workshop is Ada Limon, who is an author of 5 books of poetry, finalist for the National Book Award, works at the Queen's University of Charlotte Low Residency MFA, and is releasing a book, The Carrying, soon. The fiction workshops are being run by Matthew Clam, who wrote Who is Rich, a New York Times notable book, first novel prize finalist, winner of the O. Henry Award, Guggenheim, awards.
Big deal.
We've got Kisa Lehman. They've got Ada Limon and Kisa Lehman. It's confusing.
Lehman? I don't know.
A Southern writer from Jackson, Mississippi, who is actually a IU MFA graduate, who teaches at University of Mississippi and University of Iowa. They have in the genre and they've got some more genre stuff. They've got Allison Galen, who's been nominated for Edgar 3 times. Has written stories like books like What Remains of Me, If I Die Tonight, Normandy Gold. They've got Jason Adam Katzenstein, who's a cartoonist and writer for The New Yorker, Mad Magazine, Cartoon Network. Chanel Benz, who writes short stories, has been published in Granta, Electric Literature. She's won an O. Henry. And then finally, Ife Chudeni Oputa, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is a poet and essayist from Fresno, California. It sounds like she's written poetry, she's written essays. So if you're really into really any of that,
yeah, it's just anything.
And if you're in the area and you can afford it, try to get to go, because I mean, even if you haven't heard of these people, I guarantee you they're amazing.
Yeah, you're gonna learn something. That's for sure. Yeah. And just very cool people attend. You'll make friends. And even if you can't make it to the conference or can't make it to all of the conference, I'm pretty sure the readings each night are open to the public.
Yeah,
and that's free.
It's a 3 or 4 day conference. Well, it's a week-long conference, but most of the days of that conference, there's a reading at night where you can go for free and listen to these writers, and in some cases, the writers who are in the workshops do their work.
Yep, it's super fun. Highly recommend going if you get the chance.
Yeah, and we'll keep you updated as that develops, and if we end up going.
Yeah, I'll at least probably try and be at the readings if I can. So, yeah.
Finally, we want to introduce a new segment where we talk about the books that we're currently reading. Each week, one of us will basically just bring up a book that they're working on reading. Some of us are reading a lot of books at a time. Some of us are reading one book very slowly. It just depends. But we would like to, kind of engage you guys in the reading we're doing.
And tell us what you guys are reading now, too. We'd love to hear from you.
Oh, yes. But this week, the book is something that Bridget is reading.
Yeah, so right now, I've picked up Holly Black's new book. It's called The Cruel Prince. It's young adult fantasy. And what's really exciting about this one is that it's not a sequel per se, but it is in the same universe as some of her older books, Tithe and Ironside. And they're about fairies, which is fun. Except it's not fun because they're very, very scary fairies. And so this one is sort of a new perspective on that the relationship between fairies and humans in this universe that she's created, very based on old fairy mythology and stuff like that. And it's very interesting. She's a fantastic writer. And I've been really excited about that one for a while, so I was glad to be able to pick it up.
Yeah. So if you're into any of that stuff that Bridget said, or want something that's new and good, go ahead and check that out, and there'll be links to that, as always, in the show notes.
Yay!
And I think that just about wraps it up this week. So don't worry. Next episode, Celia will be back. I know. We miss her. As always.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. If you'd like to keep up with us outside of your podcast app, check us out on Facebook or Twitter, Right to Survive Podcast. We also have a Tumblr. You can find show notes and other goodies on Right to Survive Podcast.wordpress.com. If you really like us, we have a Patreon and a coffee if you would like to buy us a cup of coffee, or support us month to month, because this is a side job and it really helps. Anything helps with hosting on Spreaker, helping us travel around to get interviews, equipment upkeep, and just the time that we do is funded by our patrons when we have them. So please support us that way.
And another way you can support us if you can't donate at all is, just sharing our social media, recommending it to your friends who might be interested in it, and leaving us reviews on iTunes is a huge help.
Please leave reviews on iTunes or whatever.
If you like anything we've done, or if you don't like it, I guess you could tell us that too. But hopefully you like it.
Not only does
it talk about that.
Not only does it show us what we need to do better or what we're doing well already, but it also shows iTunes and the places that we're a show worth carrying. All right,
we don't have any way to advertise this right now, so word of mouth is all we got. So,
all right, guys. So thanks so much for listening, and hope you guys have a good week. Remember to please do some writing. A little bit,
and submit if you got anything.
And submit if you have it. A little bit, long stuff, short stuff. Just put pen to paper, keep reading, and always remember that you have a right to survive.
Why don't you write when you don't need money? All your notes sound alike too much. All of them starts with "I love you, honey," but they end with the same old touch. Just for a change, send a nice loving letter and cut out that "please remit." Why don't you write when you don't need money, honey? That would certainly make a hit.